Hi, this is Deb Frew from the Worldwide Metaphysical Tribe, back again with one of our esteemed speakers. I am so happy that Marcel Vidovic agreed to come and give a presentation to you about CE5. Marcel's been involved with Dr. Stephen Greer, who actually started the CE5 movement, and he has so many stories to tell. And he is also going to explain to us on Saturday when he gives his presentation how we are going to participate in a CE5 event. Uh, I don't want to call it a specific CE5, but a CE5 like event because we don't have as much time to devote as we'd like. Um, so, Marcel Vidovic, thank you for coming. I'm can't wait to meet you in person. And why don't you tell us how you got into this whole CE5 mindset?
Absolutely. First of all, I want to thank you very much, and I'm honored to be a guest at your venue. Thank you for all of the compliments that you've given me. I truly, truly appreciate that. And if I can inspire people regarding contact or inspiration for making contact, looking within, I'm happy to be here. In regards to where I started, it's something that was a fascination for me for a very long time since I was a very young boy. I did not grow up in an environment that I had any type of communication with anybody spiritual. I lived in a very 3D world,
Okay.
and never really got into doing any research into the spiritual side. I have a twin brother who was, and I just thought he was kind of a little nutty doing that stuff. That said, maybe 10, 15 years ago, what I now recognize is an awakening. I started going through an awakening process. I had no idea what it was, but there was this desire to understand many things, many aspects of our life, including extraterrestrials, UFOs. Very fascinated with that. So this force was driving me into getting out of my regular 3D world, and I started doing a little bit more research. Anyways, fast forward, got into Dr. Greer's YouTube channel and some of the seminars that he was putting together, that he was speaking at. I was actually very fascinated. I looked at it for a little while, then came back to my 3D life, and then eventually I couldn't take it anymore. I went back and started doing some more research. I realized, based on what he was putting on, or that he had these expeditions, and I've been following him for years. I had no idea he had these expeditions.
Oh,
Yeah, so I signed up for one. I didn't tell anybody. I just signed up for an expedition and decided to go try this out. And it was amazing because when I got there, I was absolutely surprised in that people were using meditation and consciousness to make contact. I figured, here's Dr. Greer. He has decades of experience communicating with extraterrestrials. We're going to be there, and somehow the shifters are going to come. And that's not what happened. We started forming a circle, meditating, and by the second day we had, I guess for me, I've had a lot of profound experience, but this was so profound that it was the turning point of my life.
wow.
That we had two massive twin ships that came in from the Atlantic Ocean and the horizon, and they were there for a few minutes, and I just sat there in absolute amazement.
I'm sure.
That it's so hard to describe unless you're there to experience a phenomena of that nature. I mean, it was massive, and it was a spiritual situation.
Yeah.
Never experienced that before. So that was kind of me starting to go down the rabbit hole.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I still kind of questioned the fact about the meditation and so on. I thought that was a little kind of, too much kumbaya and so on. However, that was the seed. And now, in retrospect, I understand the importance, and that is actually the catalyst to making contact first with yourself and then with extraterrestrial beings. So fast forward, I joined a Michigan group, the C5 Bryant group. We had experiences there, and then I expanded into national groups and then did international travels and had face-to-face personal contact with extraterrestrials shortly after my Vero Beach expedition. And that to me was the most incredible experience spiritually, because I developed a personal communication with extraterrestrials. I've seen it done through Dr. Greer and others, but that's my first contact in New Zealand was a very personal one.
Let's stop right there. This just seems like the edge of what's possible. And I know it's not. And I know in 20 years we'll look back and go, oh, ho, ho, when Marcel had his contact. But for us right now, this is huge. This is groundbreaking. This is mind blowing. It's paradigm shifting. What exactly, or what do you want to share with us? Let's put it that way. What would you like to share with us about direct extraterrestrial contact that you have had?
Well, let me first start by saying that I think the concept, and I'm going to speak for myself, but my understanding was we're waiting for disclosure for the government to come forward to let us know. We've all read the books and see the movies
Right.
from Roswell going forward and so on. So that's kind of was what my mindset. Going through this experience, I realized we don't need authorities
Correct.
to establish that link. You as an individual have the power to have your own contact experience. You don't need a permission slip from any type of authority, whether it's religious authority or a governmental authority. It's within ourselves to do that.
Right.
That I think everyone needs to recognize that they have the power within themselves to make contact. So for me, as I got into this and started going out in the field under the stars and making and attempting to make contact, I realized that the more you practice, the more you go within and really just let go, open your heart and allow things to come in, things start opening up. And my first experience was in New Zealand when I was with 15, 20 people having a beautiful contact experience. That's the first time I really got into the meditation, into going deep within and having the experience. And when that happens, you'll know right away. Yeah, most of the time most of the time people are curious. Although I was always looking around. Where's the craft? What's going on? This time, that was secondary. It was going within and experiencing, and when you have that experience within inside, when you're starting to feel the coherency with you and the group, all of a sudden there's things that are happening. There's a feeling. It's an incredible, euphoric, sensational, heartfelt feeling that's really difficult to describe. That's the first thing that happens. Wow. And when you feel that, when you have this burning sensation of just unity and love, all of a sudden, now you're more receptive to very subtle things. And what happened in New Zealand is as I was really in that mindset, I just felt a very gentle squeeze on my shoulder. We were in a circle meditating, and all of a sudden I felt right through my jacket, I felt this gentle squeeze. And I mean, it's a very simple thing that happened, but it was just so amazing. I kind of opened my eyes, looked around, there's nobody there. I'm like, oh my God, I just felt that. And that was the beginning of what was going to transpire in the next few days. It was almost like, we are here and thank you for recognizing us. That's kind of what I felt.
Wow. That in itself is so immense, that I think you should save the rest of this story, because to think about this, I really like the concept of the coherency of the group, that everybody is meditating or whatever practices you have us do so that we're all sort of in the same literal vibration. And that coherency then shows anyone else who wants to communicate with us that, that we're all together here to be here for you. Now, there is a question that I'm sure is in the back of some people's minds who are listening to this, and that is the fear factor. I know that people are like, oh, it sounds so exciting, but I'm terrified. So how would you how would you address that?
Well, that was going to be my next discussion is
Okay.
when I had that experience where I got touched on the shoulder, um, the any type of fear, preconceived notion that I had from my history, from the upbringing, and primarily the movies and the books have a tendency to have a massive fear factor and scare people.
Right.
And, in my opinion, I think it's a control mechanism. Don't empower yourself. There could be ETs, but they're scary and they're going to eat you, or they're going to attack us and all this other stuff.
Oh, I
So
like that
people,
concept.
so people are very reluctant to do that. And being out in the field, I sense that too. I had a little bit of fear, not as much as some other people that I've been in my groups have an incredible amount of fear. I did have a fear of the unknown, but when you start having that experience, the fear itself kind of dissipates. And when you are in a group with like-minded people and you're experiencing that coherency, the fear factor tends to diminish.
Good.
Okay.
Good.
You have a comfort level in which you are with friends, with people in a common goal. The common goal is to make peaceful contact. So in that group setting, the fear factor diminishes to some degree. It doesn't mean that it's going to disappear, because that's really entrenched in every individual in all sorts of different ways. There's people that are very, very religious, who are, very reluctant to make this type of contact because they think that there might be summoning demons or the devil himself and things of that nature. So everyone has a different perception of this and this fear factor. But what I can tell you and tell the group, that when you open up, when you let go and you use your heart for communication, if you just sit there and let go and say, I am ready for this, the fear factor itself will diminish, because you will start having a euphoric sensation that feels really good. And if it was something that was negative, your insight would kick in and say, hey, I'm afraid. But that's never happened. And in all the years I've been doing this with the hundreds of CE5 teams across the globe, we've never had a negative experience.
Well,
so if I can tell people, it's always been a positive experience. So opening up and letting go of the fear to some degree is really helpful, for you to open up enough to I guess open the pipeline to communications with ETI.
I look at the world right now and we're undergoing such huge change. Why? Because, well, we've been kicking the can down the road for ever and ever, and now it decided to all come up for a margin call at one time. Every single thing that we ever ignored and put off till later, it's now. Now is the change time. We have to somehow align ourselves in that change. And the way you're saying this to me, it feels like, um, since I've chosen to participate, and I'm in the group with professionals such as yourself, and also willing participants such as the rest of the people in the group, and that moment of fear comes. The question is, if not now, when? Because the day is here.
Exactly. The day is here, and I am just very grateful that I can share my experiences and inspire people to do the work, because there's so much division in our planet right now. And the only way we're going to change this is to change the consciousness of those people that aren't what I just consider awake at this point in time. We are so entrenched in our history of control, of war, of suppression of technology that can free us. And so we can advance and live in somewhat of a utopian society and use the technology for the betterment of man and the planet itself. That's super important. The time is crucial that we, as spiritual beings who are awake, try to communicate this to other people and inspire other people and wake them up. So as the group grows, we can have a impact on our society. There's just right now, as you know, what we're experiencing is unheard of. You know, a year or 2 years ago,
Yeah.
if you would have said this was going to be happening in 2020, 2021, you would say that's unreal. So I think we're at that point of division where either we're going to go in a positive way and change the planet for the better, or we might just self-destruct.
It seems that simple. And I'm really hoping that this year's tribe event, with especially your talk and with Kimberly Marie, and also the CE5 event that we're hoping to pull off, weather permitting, um, I I really hope that this brings a new level of understanding to the people who attend. And that's why I've been telling people, you know, don't come alone. Come with a friend, because you're going to need to talk to someone. You know, you're going to need to bounce this off of someone. Marcel, thank you so
You're
much for
very
your
welcome. If I
time.
can add, because I never really answered your
Yes.
question, is what to expect in the field. So
Okay.
when we educate people on the CE5 protocols and we go out in the field and we form a circle and we get into that mindset, the contact that we're going to have is going to be personal to each person. Now, there's a very good chance we're going to witness crafts in the sky. We might have flash bulbs. We might have shooting stars that are going in an upward trajectory rather than across the sky. There's all sorts of things that can occur that the entire group can share. But even though when we're having that experience, and let's say there's a craft across the sky, not everybody might see it because of that fear factor we discussed. Somehow that doesn't allow them to visualize that. But if everybody is in that mindset, we can experience that. The other things that you can expect in the field are going to be very subtle things. You might see lights in front of you, very small, titillating lights that are just flickering in front of you. Smell, you will feel touch. You might see silhouettes. When I was in New Zealand, I saw the silhouette of a very large ET being within 10, 15 feet in front of me. And I was just absolutely amazed. They superimpose themselves in other people. So there's little subtle things. And what I say is don't dismiss it. Kind of just open your heart and experience the experience. And again, it might not be the mother ship that lands, because I don't think that the ETs are ready to do that, because the population as a whole is not ready for that. There's too many ramifications, even within the small group that might be there that night. But they will, the fact that we're doing this, they will let themselves be heard or seen in one form or another. When I've done these training sessions, and even when I went to other events, we've had experiences, contact experience 100% of the time. I lost your voice.
Sorry,
there.
am I here?
Yeah.
We do have a couple of experiencers coming, so people who have had contact or at least seen good close up, long event UFO sightings. And also, I wanted to I wanted to mention that there are a lot of craft in our area.
Yes,
And
yeah,
they
your area has a lot of activity.
Yeah,
Yes.
it
Yeah,
does.
yeah.
And it's kind of amazing. And the other thing that I wanted to mention to talk about how you to just add on to what you said about your fear can stop you from seeing things. Just to back that up, I want to remind people that when Christopher Columbus anchored his ships off of, I think it was the Dominican Republic, and the Native Americans looked out and they couldn't see his ships.
Because absolutely, that's a really good analogy.
And they
Yes.
couldn't because they had nothing to compare it to in their lives, and they were afraid. I mean, they had to have been afraid. What was this? You know? So yes, I that's why I really feel that this trust in the group, this coherence that we build up during our session is really, if nothing else, just those two things will bring us to a new place where we can experience things perhaps on our own.
Oh, and that's exactly what this is about. So once we are finished, the majority of the people will feel elated. They're going to feel a sense of love and community. But most
Nice.
importantly, they're going to take with them whatever experience we had home with them
Right.
and have that memory, that recollection, that bond, that establishment of connection with ETs, a personal one, is what's going to perpetuate. That's the most important thing. Even though we might have experiences as a group, it's that individual connection, your own personal connection to ET, that is going to go with you and flourish down the road. And if you continue the practice in doing that, it'll open up more and more. But we start as a group, but when we end, everyone is going to take that with them. And that is the most important thing, is you've established your own personal communication and take that out to the world, continue the work, spread it, educate other people in the contact work. And this is how we're going to change the world.
How exciting. How exciting. I cannot wait to attend my own event. I'm so excited for your talk. I'm
Well,
so
thank you.
excited to experience our version of CE5 that we'll have that night on Saturday night. You will be actually speaking Saturday afternoon with Kimberly Marie on August 20th. Let's see. Nope, August 21st.
Okay.
And then we'll go out in the field at nighttime. Once the sun has gone down, we'll go down and we'll have a circle ready to go. And yeah, I'm so excited about this. If you want to, if people want to find you online, Marcel, how do they find you?
Well, they can go to my website. It's humaninitiatedcontact.com. One
Perfect.
word. On there is a description of who I am, the work that I do. You'll see photographs of a lot of the anomalies in the crafts that I captured over the last few years. And it'll also be a video section that you can actually see videos of actual crafts that have come in and landed or have been in the sky. There's videos of light ships appearing very close to the group, which is really an amazing experience. So you can find me there. You can also go to my YouTube channel, Human Initiated Contact, and find me there. I also have a Facebook site, is the actually two Facebook sites, but I'm going to point you to the CE5 initiative page, and that's where people share a lot of their experiences. So if you do CE5 initiative, look me up on Facebook, become a member, and there's a plethora of information on that site as well.
Well, I'm so excited. Please make a plan to be at the Worldwide Metaphysical Tribe this year, our 8th year. You can go to internalwilderness.com and look for Worldwide Metaphysical Tribe, and all the information you need is there, plus links for tickets. bring a friend. You're going to need somebody to talk to. And thank you again, Marcel. I look
You're
forward to meeting you in person.
same here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the time.
Thanks, Marcel.
You're welcome.